Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 126 of the Sovereign Storytellers podcast with your host, Michelle Wolf. Today, this morning, actually, I got a little mini bit of information from Be in the Gang. So I was doing my meditation as usual. And I was thinking about Ukraine and the energy and how hard it is to filter out my normal human concerns. You know how I've talked to y'all about we're on the continuum, right? We're focused as our basic human being self, or we are meditating and we're in that light and we're looking at a big picture, long-term soul story view. And when big stuff is happening like Ukraine, and I don't know about y'all, but this is like the biggest thing that's ever happened in my lifetime. It's difficult, right? There's so many emotions. It's hard to find the center. And so what I was given is a prayer for peace cannot come from a mind at war. The body is the transmitter. To pray peace, the body must be, capital B, capital E, in a state of peace. Prayer lives in your bones and blood, not your worrisome thoughts. What was interesting about that is Grammarly wants to write it as to pray for peace. And I put that in and I was like, no, that's not what they meant. They meant prayer as, I hope I can find the words for this. Prayer as a verb, a living, physical verb, an active prayer state. You are being peace. We've heard that saying a zillion times, right? You have to be the change you want to see in the world. And that's nice to contemplate, but what does that really mean? And what clicked into place with this little bit of information is it's the physical body that's being. We have to be the energy. A couple of episodes ago, a few episodes back maybe, I talked to you a lot about resonance. Like you have to be resonant with wealth. You have to be resonant with love. You have to be resonant with peace. But this made it even more clear that to be resonant with means your physical body is in the state of peace. So if we go back to my constant river analogy, that we are in a river of energy and there are different currents flowing at different speeds and different temperatures through us, around us, all the time. The signature of love is different than the signature. Let me say that differently. Maybe back up a second. I've been calling it the signature of this energy or that energy, but I'm going to change that to the signature sensation of love is different than the signature sensation of anger, which is different than the signature sensation of wealth, peace, health, etc. Okay, the signature energy has a sensation. Ideally, we are expressing that energy through our body and experiencing sensations, concurrent sensations that are the physical result of alignment. The physical experience of resonance. Resonance is not a mental thing. We've treated prayer as a mental thing. We've treated prayer as I have to talk to the guy in charge. I would like to see a manager, please. But there is no guy in charge. There is no one in charge. There is no construct like that. That is a completely human attempt to understand what the hell's going on here, right? We can't get it with our human brain. We get it when we're not in a body anymore, but we're not disembodied right now. We're in a body. We're supposed to be having an earth experience, a physical, meaty, life, tangible, touchable experience here. We're not meant to be floating around in the cosmos all the time. We're not meant to be like separated from ourselves through addiction, through chronic numbness, through trauma tripping us into nervous system patterns that we never grow up and get out of. We're meant to be here experiencing the sometimes extremely uncomfortable sensations of being in a meat suit. Our running from that is the source of all of our difficulties being here, living a life in a physical body. I was talking to the Loving Me Sugar-Free group today about how it takes a lot of courage to deal with the things that we do to not be present. Addiction is a portal for the most deepest spiritual I get a little enthusiastic about these topics, and so sometimes I lose my words. Addiction is the most powerful, I won't say the most, but an incredibly powerful portal to profound spiritual transformation and profound experiences of embodiment, of merging body, mind, and soul, of being a whole body, mind, spirit in union as a whole. All the parts not fighting against each other like two horses hooked up to a wagon and one's going one way and the other's going the other way. That's most of our lives, right? And we don't want to feel the horse going left and the horse going right. So we just eat or drink or do too much plant medicine or any plant medicine, in my opinion. But y'all know I'm pretty judgy about that. Yeah, sorry, flawed human being. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, so to circle back to what does this have to do with prayer? It's a deeper level of embodiment. So we get told that, right? You got to be the change. You got to be resonant with. You have to monitor your thoughts. Your thoughts create the feelings, etc. But we know now that we get further into nervous system research and the biology of brain activity, and we know now that our vagus nerve is picking up non-verbal things so quickly that maybe all the time, maybe some of the time, that emotion's coming first. Or let me say it differently. Some of the time or all of the time, we don't know yet, the sensation is happening first, and then our mind starts to spin a tale about it. Sometimes that's a tale of woe. Sometimes that's a tale of celebration. Sometimes that's a tale of fill in the blank. But sensation happens. We perceive something, visible or invisible. We have a sensation. Our experience of sensation X triggers familiar story Y. That story generally takes us into our familiar bad feeling place if it's a negative. If it's happy and we're not used to being happy, we are going to have a moment of happiness that feels so fucking uncomfortable that we go and turn the volume down on that with a Netflix binge and a giant bowl of popcorn. or a joint, or a bottle of wine, or starting drama in your relationships, however you do it. The root of this is being so uncomfortable with feeling sensation. Emotions create sensation. I'm almost thinking that we're heading into an even more subtle understanding of, we've been talking about for a long time, the real core root of our problem is we just will not process our emotions. That's fine. We've all been raised not to. We've been raised for a really long time that emotions are to be avoided. And to be honest, it's a mark of privilege to even be able to take the time to go, I wonder if I'm not processing my emotions. I wonder if I need to go to trauma therapy. Being able to go to therapy at all, being aware that you might benefit from therapy, there's a luxury in that, and we need to remember there's more than a little privilege in even having the space and time to explore these philosophical concepts and, spin theories with each other. I'm grateful for that. I'm so grateful that we have the space to do it. And I do think we contribute to the world by having the courage to enter those portals of transformation, because they are goddamn uncomfortable. They are painful. They are scary. And we end up more free on the other side. But, phew, right? Good Lord, it's hard to walk through those doors sometimes. But what's happening in Ukraine is so big. It's so multi-layered, invisible, visible. I can't even, I'd love to do a podcast on it, but I honestly cannot find the words to share with you all the things that are happening on all the levels that are reflected layer after layer after layer in what's happening between Ukraine and Russia. It's complex. If I find the words, of course, I'm going to come tell you. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the subject at hand. Are we avoiding emotions? This is just a slightly different way to think of it. Or are we avoiding the sensations of emotions? We know we avoid our thoughts. We know we avoid feelings or emotions, whatever you want to call them. And we've been thinking of it and talking about it. And now it's like we're avoiding the sensation of the emotion. And that's positive or negative, right? We've talked about this before. And I know in my head, I'm like, you're just saying the same thing you said 6 months ago. But it feels like it's dropped in deeper. I hope that's happening for you too. It feels like, no, the body is the prayer. The body is transmitting the prayer. We're not sending our thoughts up above our head, carried by angels to the big guy upstairs, because that's a load of nonsense. We are ideally finding a speck of peace within ourselves, whether we're using forest Reiki or other energy modalities, or we're just trying to remember some point in our lives where we felt peaceful and, bring that into our current awareness and amplify it. However we're doing it, if we can't tolerate the sensations and activate that in our body, our prayer is ineffective. Where's it going? It's not going anywhere. It's just spinning around in our brains. Maybe we're writing it in a journal, or we're putting it on a slip of paper and burning it or whatever. I'm not saying that's bad or 100% ineffective, but the power is radiating that state with the equivalent sensations, so that the body is that cell phone tower. It is that radiant being. We talk about this a lot in Forest Reiki, that you're not doing the healing. You are not. You are doing the attuning yourself to an energy state of being, and then you are radiating that on purpose. And whoever gets it, gets it. Yes, your client has purchased a session, and you've probably put their name on a piece of paper or something, and you are holding them in this space. But if someone's next to you, if you're doing this on a bus, and yes, you can do a force Reiki session riding a bus or a plane or whatever, when you get really practiced at it, you can do it anywhere. Whoever's sitting next to you is getting the blast too. You can't pick and choose. Okay, only Barbara gets it because she's the one that signed up for a session. It doesn't work like that. Energy's energy. Okay, but when you're doing that, you are a radiant source of light. You are that candle in the darkness. You have to be able to feel the sensations of peace and be comfortable with it. If you're not, it's a mental prayer. And what Be in the Gang we're saying this morning is, you want to knock somebody's socks off with prayer? It's got to be all the way down through the bottoms of your feet, out the top of your head, flowing out your fingertips. Your body has to be, ideally is completely immersed and glowing with the energy signature sensations of peace. You are a flame. You're on fire energetically with peace, with love, with wealth. Whatever it is you're trying to attune yourself to, mental attunement isn't working. That's why so many of us are like, I do what you tell me to do, oh teacher, oh coach I've paid $1,000 or more to. I'm doing it. And then the coach will say, well, you're not doing it because you're not getting results. Totally misunderstanding that without the nervous system work, and this is not a blame because, right, we're just all putting these pieces together. So I'm not saying anybody is a bad coach, because I didn't get it either. I didn't get how deep this goes. Same thing with what I was telling you about Ukraine. This goes multiple layers deep, and it goes to a place where there aren't any words. And which makes it difficult for me to share it with you. Like, I really wish that I could stuff all y'all inside my heart just for like 30 minutes so I could share all this stuff with you in that place where there is no words. It makes me emotional. I want to give that to you. And I just cannot find a way to communicate it. Maybe someday, right? I get a little choked up about it. But if we keep working on our nervous system state, what state are you in? And what tools do you have to shift your state back to ventral vagal is where we should be. But let's just say your happy place. Getting out of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flop, or collapse. Recognizing you're there in the first place, and then grabbing a 10-second tool that will shift you. You know you're shifting when you take a big deep breath. If you've done energy work on a client, at some point they take a big deep breath. I'm going to yawn. Talking all about those big deep breaths made me yawn. And that's when you know they've let go. Their nervous system has shifted. So what I'm finding is that the nervous system tools I've been giving to people, some people aren't doing them long enough. Fair enough. I thought they moved a whole lot faster too, but you really need to give it 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. We treat ourselves like we're light switches. I'm just going to flip this switch, pink, and I'm going to be happy and calm again. Well, that ain't how it works. You got to give yourself time and do the tool 5 to 10 minutes. You'll know that you're there when you have that big, deep yawn. Or you start to cry. or the heat of anger flows through you because you're releasing it, right? It's moving through you. The most powerful prayer, state of prayer, is being able to tolerate and deeply, not just tolerate, but welcome and deeply experience the sensations of joy. When you are scared of being happy because being happy has gotten you in trouble in the past, joy feels irritating. It feels like too much coffee. It feels like you're bouncing off the walls. It feels hyperactive and strange. It's a much faster flowing signature sensation energy. So it's aggravating, right? Remember, the bartender in the brain is not used to mixing you up a cocktail that contains the chemicals of happiness. Go back and listen to that podcast. What is it called? Oh, the chemicals of change or some shit. I don't know. If you can't find it, let me know. But I think it has chemicals in the title. When you change, your brain starts producing a different ratio of chemicals. Then your nervous system has to adapt to that. And that takes time. And if you're not used to being wealthy and you get a bunch of money, the same thing happens, right? You turn into a lunatic and you figure out a way to get rid of it real quick because it's uncomfortable. Your brain doesn't know what to do with a bunch of money. If you've never had money and your family has never had money, it has no idea what to do with it. Right? We've talked about this 100 zillion times. What I want you to hear and what I want for myself to hear even more is sensation. Let's take it deeper than emotion and go straight to sensation. Now, what do I mean by sensation? I mean that jittery feeling. I mean that your heart opens and you start to really like someone and that's uncomfortable because you haven't felt your heart open in a long time and it's uncomfortable now. And it's hard to keep your head from getting involved. Or you do get a bunch of money and now you're uncomfortable. If you've been meditating every day and having a daily practice, you'll be aware of that discomfort as soon as or very shortly after it arrives. You'll be like, oh my God, I'm so itchy. Oh my God, I feel so weird. I'm running around. I don't feel good. I don't feel good because I feel good. That's how crazy we are. Maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but I think you know what I'm talking about. So we have so much baggage around emotions. Oh, women aren't supposed to be angry. Men aren't supposed to be sad. Men aren't supposed to be soft at all or have any kind of tenderness. Women aren't supposed to be warriors. Tell that to those women in Ukraine fighting right now. Don't get me started on that. I'm going to not go off on that tangent. But so how do you get comfortable with the sensation? You breathe. You sit with it. You label it. You talk to yourself about it. Oh my God, my heart is opening, and that makes me feel weird, and it makes me remember times that I opened my heart and got hurt. It makes me remember times that I opened my heart but it wasn't reciprocated. It makes me remember times that I opened my heart to a bad person. And that makes me sense, that creates these sensations in my body of, I notice I'm breathing shallowly now. I notice that I'm frowning now. I notice that there's fear, sensations of fear, like electricity running through my legs. I notice I want to get up and go run. Not literally run, because who does that? But run. Let's say check out. I want to go numb. I want to go eat something. I want to go watch 8 hours of Netflix. I want to go pretend that I don't feel this. I want to close the door on my heart again because this waking upness is so uncomfortable. So zingy sensations in your legs, itchy feet, bouncing your legs around. All of a sudden you can't sit still. All of a sudden you feel like you just got to have some sugar. You've just got to hit the bong. You've just got to watch TV or doom scroll on Twitter or YouTube. You've watched 6 hours of the BBC, right? Label it. Stay present with it through labeling the sensations. I notice my hands are clenching. Oh, I feel like I'm sweating. Oh, I feel like my heart is racing. I feel a big lump in my stomach. I feel a big lump in my throat. My head's starting to hurt. Whatever it is for you, name those things. Just narrate what's happening in your body. Oh my God, I just got $5,000. There's so many things stacked up. I don't even know what to spend it on. And I notice I'm breathing shallowly. I notice that my mind is racing. I notice I feel like I've got to pay for all the things right this minute. I'm noticing this. I'm noticing that. My legs feel, my arms feel, my hands feel, my stomach feels, my head feels. Label it. Oh, these are the sensations of happiness and I'm not used to that. And my brain is producing the happy cocktail and my nervous system isn't used to that. It's okay. I'm safe and secure. I'm experiencing the sensation, the signature sensation of happiness. I'm experiencing the signature sensation of love. And I don't have to engage in a story about it. I don't have to warn myself, oh, remember the last time you really liked someone and they didn't like you back and that was super fucking painful and blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do that. I've got a video somewhere that says put the period at the end of the sentence where it belongs. And that's very valuable in these situations. I notice I'm breathing very shallowly, period. You don't have to say, and that's because, etc., blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. I'm breathing shallowly. There is sensations moving through my ribs. I am aware that there is pain in my head, that a headache is developing. And then our tendency is to go, and that's because blah, blah, blah. We don't have to do the blah, blah. We don't have to do the yada, yada. Oh, there's sensations in my head. There's sensations in my heart. There's a weight in my stomach. I notice my body is curling forward. I notice that I'm like totally folding forward in my body. And you don't have to say, I wonder why I'm doing that. You just follow the body's lead. And you allow those sensations to rise and fall like the waves on a body of water. They will not drown you. They will not kill you. They will not take you under if you can continue to label them and be present with them. And then your body will take a big deep breath and unfold into that place where there are no words. The peace that passeth all understanding. And then you are a living prayer of peace. In that moment, if it lasts 10 seconds or 10 minutes, you are a radiant being, capital B, capital E, being of peace. You are active, alive, body, literal body of radiant love, of radiant peace, of radiant forest reiki, of radiant wealth and abundance, of radiant health, of radiant life. The sensations of being alive make a lot of us want to run for the hills. It's so uncomfortable when we feel really dynamically alive. We don't know what to do with all that power. We don't know what to do with all that energy. If you've been running through life at 10% capacity and something happens that shoots you up to 75%, you're going to feel like your head's going to explode. And you'll shut it down. We know this. We will turn the volume down on that through our tools that work. Yay, you, that you have some tools that work. But what we talked about in the class today is you got to still meet that need to modulate the volume to get used to those sensations. But you do not have to use food or sex or drugs or whatever to turn the volume down. You can modulate the volume and take as much as you can take, and using these nervous system tools. So in the process of increasing your ability to tolerate sensations, you're growing and strengthening your nervous system. You're not staying stuck in the addictive cycle of checking out and being numb and not being alive, being a zombie, walking through life looking like you're alive, but you're not really. You're not really tapping into and accessing the full complex experience and blessing of being here on the planet at this time. And you may say, why in the fuck would I want to be on the planet at this time? Well, you're here because you have something to offer, or you wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be in a body right now. And all we have to do to get there is get comfortable with the signature sensations of emotions that come with emotions. If we're praying for wealth, we've got to do everything we can to feel comfortable with the signature sensation, the physical sensations of having way more than enough. I don't know about you, but I would love to have an extra $10,000 right now to send over to Together Rising. Oh, that reminds me. I just posted on my Facebook page that Forest Reiki levels 1 and 2 for the rest of March, and I'm at extended. Who knows? We'll see what happens. 50% of sales, gross sales, not profit or net, a flat 50% of every sale I'll send to Together Rising, because they're the only organization I trust to actually get food and medicine and clothing to the people who need it. They're the only ones I trust to get shit done. So whatever that amount is on March 31st, I'm donating it, and then I'm posting a screenshot of what was donated. So anyway, that's there. If you've been sitting on the fence about Forest Reiki, now would be a good time to invest in it and have 50% of your investment go to help someone else. So I just believe that for those of us who have struggled to change our lives tangibly, visibly, we're so smart, it works against us. Our intelligence is actually a curse sometimes, because we can talk ourselves in circles and avoid our feelings. The sensations that come with the feelings. I hope this is making sense. Like, yes, it's emotions, but the next layer down is those palpitations in your heart. That all of a sudden I can't breathe. That my hands are clenching up. My chest is folding forward. I'm suddenly really sleepy. My legs are starting to bounce around. Those physical sensations. So what they were telling me this morning is, if you want to pray from the most powerful place available to you, it is that you fill your body with peace. So much peace. Maybe You haven't even experienced the level of peace that's available to you. But you fill yourself with these sensations of peace, deep breathing, calm. You can imagine the whole area of Ukraine in that state of loving peace, that wordlessness. You can expand that then to Russia. You can expand it to the whole planet. But that is prayer. The body is the transmitter. That is effective, powerful prayer that moves mountains. It's not intellectual. It's not outside of you. It's not you praying to something you think has something you don't have that can take care of this big ugly problem because you aren't powerful enough to do it. You are being it physically down in your bones. Okay. This is the most empowering position you can be in. You're not giving your power away to any kind of authority figure. You are stepping into being one with the energy of peace and love and wealth and health and whatever it is that you need. But that's what's meant by you have to be it. Be it. But you cannot be it if you can't bear to feel it. If you can't bear to feel those sensations long enough that your nervous system is like, oh, I can be comfortable with peace. Oh, I can be comfortable loving. I don't have to be loved in return. I can be comfortable and happy and fulfilled loving another. Loving a place, a person, a planet. Without expectation of it coming back. Because there's no separation in that. You're just authentically in this physical body, and this physical body lights up. And anyone you're thinking about or holding space for or standing next to, your next door neighbors are going to get a big blast of it. Every animal around you is going to get a big blast of it. But you're not saying, I am sending energy to Ukraine. I am sending energy to the planet. No. You are activating the energy of it in you, and your body is that cell phone tower transmitting the signal, and anyone and anything that is available to the least little nth degree open to receive that will receive it. And it's not your business who receives it, when or how much. That's not your business. It's not for your ego to say after 20 minutes of this, like, ooh, I did my part. Check. I'm a good person. Yeah, watch out for thoughts like that. This is you being your natural self, breathing and embodied and comfortable. And this takes time. It takes time. That's why most people don't do it. It takes time to lay down the addictions, the numbness, the checking out, the avoiding, and get comfortable. I say it to y'all all the time. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being with uncertainty. Now get comfortable with peace. Get comfortable with joy. Educate your nervous system. Grow it up from wherever it got frozen at 3, 4, 5 years old. Go back, grow it up, get it comfortable, develop the air quote muscle of your ability to tolerate sensations, the signature sensation that comes with what we call peace, love, anger, sadness, grief, etc., etc. They all have a signature. They all have equivalent and concurrent. I don't think I'm using these words right. Anger feels like it comes with a set of sensations, right? We generally flush, we get hot, sometimes we get a headache, sometimes people cry. If I get really, 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 really mad, I burst into tears, and I'm not sad at all. I will cut a bitch. But I'm crying. Because crying is just one of the, it's actually the most common way I release strong emotion is through tears. And you might do that too. But so anger comes with that set of sensations, right? And then fear comes with a different set of sensations. We stop breathing. Our stomach gets tense. We breathe really, really shallow. All of a sudden, we're listening to every sound around us. Our eyes are darting around, and those create physical sensations. Our stomach might start to gurgle because our body's producing the chemicals that come, the chemicals that bring the sensations that come with the package of fear. Makes sense? I'm pretty sure y'all know what I'm talking about, but just in case, it doesn't hurt to hear it again. It helps me to say it again, and it will help you to hear it again. There's nothing new under the sun, honey bunnies. We just have to keep repeating it to ourselves and understanding the deeper and deeper layers of it and doing our best to bring all of that home to our heart, to our head, to our hips, to our bodies. Let your body be that transmitter of peace. Your thoughts and the worrisome thoughts that create prayers that's fine if it makes you feel better, but it doesn't have the power to ripple from you throughout the entire planet. Okay. That's probably enough hollering. Right? Oh God, I've been talking for a while. All right, so try that on for size. See what you think. Let me know how it's going. And check out the Forest Reiki thing. It's on my Facebook page. If you click my cover photo, which is weirdly sized, by the way. Facebook changed their cover dimensions again? Side note, irrelevant. Anyway, click that cover photo. Go check out the Forest Reiki page. If it works for you financially at this time, just know that 50% of that is going right over to Together Rising, because they will get it right into the places where it will benefit the people on the ground in Ukraine. All right, until we talk again, y'all know what I'm going to say. Think less, feel more, and I'll talk to you later.